is this story about a young man named Hustai who lived on the steppe far, far away a long time ago. One winter night he was awakened by the heartbreaking whine of a horse. In the pale light of the winter moon, he found a dying white mare with a snow-white newborn foal at her side. He raised the white foal with great care, and the foal became very fond of him. The young man had excellent training skills, and within a few years the white foal had become a great racehorse. One day he heard there would be an Adam, a traditional sporting game in this region, and he decided to go there with his horse to try his luck. The governor of his region had many fine racehorses who in previous years had won the Nadam, but he was a very bad man. A miracle happened. Hustai's white horse defeated all the fine racehorses of the governor and won the Nadam. However, this was also the beginning of a very sad story. The very next night, Hustai was awakened by the heartbreaking whine of a horse. He rushed out of his ger, and in the pale light of the winter moon, he found his beloved white horse lying on the ground, with arrows shot through its body. Hustai burst into tears, and in his great grief, he suddenly lost consciousness. However, in his dream, he met his horse again. The horse said to Hustai, "Don't feel sorry, my master. I know you are going to miss me very much, so I give you an instrument. Please use my tail hair as the string, and when you are missing me, play it." Hustai National Park is a 2-hour drive southwest from the capital of Mongolia, Ulaanbaatar. I had volunteered for research purposes to observe the Przewalski horses in their natural habitat. As it happened, I found myself preferring to observe through the camera lens. Not only did I hope to film the horses, but other animals as well: the wolf, the Mongolian gazelle, the Corsac fox, the manul cat, red deer, and several bird species. But where could I find them? And moreover, how on earth could I get them on film? First, by getting up very early, and then climbing the hill, waiting, and being very patient. This morning, the biologist and 2 volunteers counted around 70 deer. I saw them too, but I could not catch them on camera because they were too far away. Later that day, I tried to film a marmot. I have seen so many of them, but they are so fast. This was the only one I could catch in my viewfinder. But then I got some help from a ranger, who had this peculiar way of chasing the marmot. He finally managed to get this footage. Hustai National Park covers over 125,000 acres of typical forest steppe. The vegetation of the park is extremely diverse due to the high variability of abiotic factors like soil type, availability of water, altitude, and exposure of slopes to the sun. Up till now, approximately 450 vascular plant species have been recorded. The steppe zone in Mongolia is located between the forest zone in the north and the desert zone in the south, with two intermediary zones in between, the forest steppe and the semi-desert, each with his own characteristic species. And of course, there was one animal that I could film. The Przewalski horse, or tachi, as the Mongolians call it. Before these last surviving wild horses were reintroduced in the park, they were last seen in the wild in 1968. In 1980, a breeding and adaptation program began to rear tachi, which are genetically and behaviourally suitable for reintroduction into the wild. Since the year 2000, tachi are living in the wild again. In 2005, the horse population has grown to around 170. The most striking differences when compared to the domestic horse are that the dock at the top of the tachi's tail is short-haired, and they have manes that are short and erect. They are also genetically different from domestic horses. Domestic horses have 64 chromosomes, while the tachi have 66. Tachi are social animals, and they live in harems. Each harem consists of 4 to 20 animals, and includes a leading stallion, its mares, and their offspring. Each harem has its own home range, where they spend about 95% of their time. The size of a home range in the Hustai National Park can vary from a few hundred acres to 5,000 acres. I don't know what is going on here, but this harem seems to be very excited. Reintroduced tachi have adjusted very well to their natural environment. During their first encounters with wolves, the adult horses surrounded the younger ones and finally drove off the wolves. But wolves have increased in numbers and occasionally do manage to kill tachis. The first generation of tachi born in the wild are now themselves reproducing. So this was what all the excitement was about.